YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now today I'm going to be going over a couple of things that I've shown before from new angles and new perspectives, because the rover has moved, the Perseverance rover has moved, and we've got some different views of some of the same things that I've shown previously in videos like this one here, Mars Perseverance carved cat in city ruins, and also in one of these videos here I also showed what looks like an animal on the ground as well, a carved animal, but I'm going to show it to you today in much greater detail because I've done a bit of work on these. Now what I've done some composite images which I'll show you first, and then I'll show you where to look. And I've got this one. Now if you saw that cat video I did the other day, you would have seen this already, and this is it here. Now I call this a cat, but I don't know if it's a cat. In fact, in that video I said it may be a dog or maybe something else, but it's that kind of size of creature, and it looks a bit like a cat and it looks a bit like a dog depending on how you look at it. Here's the original clip from Sol 78, Perseverance Sol 78, mast right, just here. And here I've got two new clips, which I'll zoom into. They're both from Sol 90, one's left camera and one is right camera, okay? And you can see that it still looks very much like an animal, either a dog or a cat or something similar. But from this angle, you can actually see that it seems to be wearing a collar or something on the back of it here, coming round like that. And you can see it on this one as well. Okay? Now, the question is, not whether this is a carved animal or not, because I'm pretty convinced it is now. I was a little bit dubious about this before because this was taken from further away, greater distance, and is quite small in the Gigapan, which I'll show you in a second. But these are a lot closer, and we can see a lot more detail here. And if I show you the Gigapans now, here, I've got them lined up. Now, this is the left one here. This is the right one. You can flick between the left and the right and get a 3D effect, like that. If you line them up properly, this is pretty cool. It won't zoom in any further than this. It's still a distance away, but not as far as this. Now, this is the original image I showed in that video a couple of weeks ago. And you need the magnifier to see it properly, but it's actually quite clear, the shape. It's got this weird rock which kind of obscures the view slightly, and some people see that instead of this. But you need to ignore this, right? And you can see those ears sticking up, and the face, and the body, and what looks like, I thought was a kind of tail coming down here at the back, but I think that's just the way this part sticks out in front. Okay? But I've got the left version of that here, which is actually brighter. There it is. And slightly clearer, I think, because it's brighter. You can see it there, right? So you can flick between the left and right on that one. And you can do the same with this one. This is the side view. Now, this is also partly obscured by the rock just behind it there. And what I did in my clip is I gently I gently kind of softened the rock just behind there, and then sharpened this bit here to make it stand out, because that's obscuring our view. From a distance, this kind of looks like it's part of the same thing here, but it's not. You can actually see when you go in here, the nose of this animal, whatever it is, dog or cat or whatever, comes out like that. And you can also see it on the right one here, the snout sticking out there, and then the body coming down here like this, with the ears sticking up. So the ears are still quite clear on both left and right here. And you can just about make out an eye here, and the nose is here. Same on this one. Now, I haven't enhanced these very much because I don't want to add any stuff that isn't there. Basically, I just pumped up the contrast a bit, brighten them quite a lot, and sharpen them. But you can see in both of them that the details match up with this one here. Although this one we're seeing it almost from the front, We've got a front view because we can see the ears are much more separate here. And we can see both eyes. There's an eye there and an eye there. And there's the snout. And you can just about make out this collar type thing here sticking out the side, but it's not very clear because this is further away. But on this one, you can see that there are 2 feet there and a foot there as well. And then the belly here, as I showed before, back coming down like that, okay? So you can actually match up the details between the different angles, which kind of confirms what we're looking at. It's either a small dog or a cat or something of that size, some kind of creature carved onto the rock or from the rock. This was probably outside someone's house or on top of their house above the entrance or in front of the entrance or something like that. Like some of the other things I've shown, a lot of the statues and gargoyles are actually on ruined structures which are buried, and we're just seeing the very top of these structures. So this may be quite a large structure down below. And like I've said before, the whole area, when you look at these patterns, we've got this circle here coming round. This was probably a large building here, and this was probably next to or above or in front of an entrance to one of these structures. And when you look at the ground, you've got all these areas, these patches of light coloured rocks, okay? And when you darken these, if you take a clip of this, like I did in the previous video, if you take a clip of this and then really darken it down and turn the contrast up, you'll see that there's patterns in the ground of these buried structures. And you can even make out where there are kind of pathways in between them. And some of them are circular and some of them are more rectangular or square. But this looks like a circular structure here, coming round. We've got what may have been one of the outer walls here, or inner walls, and an outer wall here, like a perimeter. So you can actually make out that there are things in the ground, and we're just seeing the ruined, buried remains of these things. And occasionally we see things that were on top or near the top of these buildings, or in front of them, sticking up, like statues and pillars and things like that. And I have shown quite a few statues already in these Perseverance rover images, including what look like statues of people as well as animals. Okay, so that's already been established by me, and a bunch of other researchers have shown them as well, so not just me. So that was cool. So basically that's what it is. I'm pretty sure now that that's what we're looking at. It's either some kind of cat or dog. Now we could argue which it is, but that is some kind of carved animal sitting on a plinth type rock here, which was probably carved out of, and then this was probably put on top of a building or in front of it. And the remains of the buildings are all kind of dilapidated, but somehow this has survived. This was probably buried until fairly recently in sand. The sand is constantly shifting in these areas, and many areas are now clearer of sand that probably weren't only a few years ago. So there we are. And that's what it is. It looks like an animal. I can't tell you whether it's a dog or cat. It's looking more like a dog now, because the nose kind of sticks out more like a dog. And the cat wouldn't do that so much, I don't think. But it could be a lemur, it could be almost anything. It could be almost any type of animal. Many of the animals on Mars that I've shown so far, either remains or carvings of, do look similar to ours, but many of them don't. So this collar thing was interesting here. It looks like it kind of comes around like that. Very interesting. Now, what would that represent, I wonder? So there we are. That was it for that one, really. I'll put some more clips of these in at the end, and I'll show you the other clips I've got, the original clips, and I'll do them in the sequence for you, so you can have a proper look, because you can really pick out that this is really what it looks like, and it probably is, now that we're seeing it from other angles. And you can see this in 4 angles now, left and right from 78 and left and right from Sol 90. And it will probably be seen again from further round to the back. So we'll probably get a back view of it at some point as the rover moves round. Or the rover may go the other way. We may see it from the front again, from closer. We don't know which way the rover's going to go. So there we are. We will see more angles of it and hopefully confirm it even more. Right, now this is something I spotted the other day, and I also showed in a video, previous video, either my last video or the one before that. But it turns out this was actually spotted a day before I spotted it by Jim Miller. So credit to Jim Miller for this. He actually posted this on ArtAlienTV Mars magazine, and I may have actually spotted it about the same time as him, but I didn't publish it till later, but that's cool. Good find. And he actually pointed out, which is something that I didn't notice on this as much, he actually pointed out here, if I get his original image, this is really cool. He's done a composite image here, and he's pointed out basically that this thing has a weird sort of drill hole just here. And you can see that in both images, which I'm going to show you now. So credit to Jim for finding this, Jim Miller, good spot. And I'm just going to show you those details. Now, I actually think this is another animal. Now, I thought, when I first showed it, I didn't really spend much time on it, because I was actually showing other stuff in the Gigapans and some of the Chinese rover stuff as well, so I was kind of distracted by that. But I think this is an animal, another one, another carved animal that was either on top of or in front of a building, probably, just like that one I just showed you. But this is much, much closer to the rover. And I've got it lined up here. Now this is Sol 89, this is mast right, and this is mast left. And you can actually see it really good in both of them because it's pretty close to the rover. And you can see the snout sticking out here, and you can see nostrils here. See those nostrils? One there, one there. There's that hole. It's got a drill hole in it, which you can see in both of them. And you can see the eyebrow here, and an eye here, and just about make out an eye there. Eye there and an eye there. And the nose sticks out more on the left one. You can see it, the snout sticking out more. This is the body, and this is the neck here. And the head seems to be broken. Now I think this head would have come up like this, and may have had big ears sticking up. Or not, I don't know. But it looks broken to me, and there may have been big ears sticking up that were broken off or eroded away. But it looks damaged anyway. So you can actually compare the snout detail from left to right, okay? Like that. Now if I zoom out, I'll show you how close to the rover it is. Now the rover is literally just here. So it's not very big. This is probably only about 5 or 6 inches in length. It looks big, but it's just closer. It may be a bit bigger than that. It may be 12 inches. I don't know exactly. We can't actually see the rover in this image. If we could see the rover down here, part of it, we could get a better scaling on this. So this thing isn't that big. It's just much closer than the other one. And incidentally, you can see that structure I pointed out before, this kind of semicircular structure here coming round, right? Now that cat statue thing is right over here somewhere, but it doesn't show up in this one very well. In fact, I think we can see it here, just here. The cat or dog is just there, but it's in complete shadow and is hidden, but that's it there. Okay, but it doesn't show up very well. It goes to show that from some angles, some of these things don't show up very well at all, depending on the angle of the sun and the time of day and everything else. So that's where that cat stroke dog is there. You can just about make out the ears sticking up, but because it's in complete shadow, we can't make out the shape. Okay, so things can be hidden by shadows, but shadows can also really help you see things better depending on the angles. Okay, but you can see this semicircular structure coming round here, right round. So that is a building, right? And this was probably another building right here, just here. And this is where the other animal is, which looks more like a dog with a sort of doggish looking nose, okay? Right? And here it is. Now obviously I've enhanced that a bit, but not very much. I've added contrast and I've colour corrected it a little bit. It's gone quite bright and reflective, where I've pushed the brightness a bit, but that was just to try and get some of this detail in the shadows. And when you zoom in, you can see there's an eye here, and an eye here. Right? The nostrils are very clear, got one there, and one there, and the nose sticks right out. And we've got what looks like mouth and teeth detail here, kind of teeth sticking up like that, right? If I get rid of that, we'll compare it to the left one. I mean, you can really see the nostrils and the eye on this one. It's there. There's the other eye. There's the nostrils. That isn't a cat nose, that's more like a dog nose, right? As a lot of you out there have probably got cats and dogs, you would know. I mean, they've got quite different noses, cats and dogs. I used to do pet portraits when I was a portrait artist years ago. I did that for many, many years, as well as being a musician and everything else. I used to do people's portraits, but I used to do their pets, which usually meant doing their dogs or cats or both in a kind of composite image. That was a pain in the ass. I'm glad I don't do that anymore. But you can see what looks like teeth detail here. So, or is that hair or chin? And there's something here. There's that hole, just there, that Jim pointed out, which is interesting. Now, is it possible that that hole was drilled in there for a reason, and that is actually functional? In other words, there may have been something attached to this, or this could have been part of a fountain, perhaps. Maybe there was water squirting out of it. Although, why would it squirt out the side of the face like that? I don't know. Absolutely no idea, really. But you can actually see the neck fold there on both of them. And then what looks like the chin there. And then the nose, obviously, on both of them quite clearly. And then the eyes here and here. But the head itself does this. And I wonder whether this had actually ears sticking up like that, right? That are now broken off, because that looks to me like ear detail that's now damaged. Okay. Now I don't know how big the ears would have been, and I don't know whether they were sticking up like that. There's no way I can actually predict that. But judging by the shape of it, that's what I'm getting from this, that there would have been ears sticking up like that. So it doesn't look a dog or a wolf or something similar. And you can clearly see the nose detail there. And I really haven't enhanced this much. You can actually see, I've got the raw clip here. You can see all that detail there. You can see the nostrils, you can see the eyes, and you can see those, what look like ears that have probably eroded or broken off. And you can see that hole, and you can see what look like teeth details there as well. Okay. So there we are. Is it a dog? It looks like a dog. Both these things are not very far apart, and they're both animals, and they're probably both dogs. Because this one now, from this angle, looks more like a dog, and the fact we have a dog here probably means that this is also a dog, but not necessarily. I'm just trying to work out the odds of that really happening. The odds of nature actually carving two dogs only meters away from each other. The odds of Mother Nature carving that just from wind erosion are probably less than zero, if that's possible. Absolutely impossible for nature to do that twice literally in an area of only about 20 or 30 meters. I mean, you can work out how far apart these are, because obviously, like I showed you, that the cat-looking dog is only over here. How far is that from here? Not very far. 30, 40 feet, 30 feet, 20 feet, I don't know. Thanks for watching, everybody. Images coming up now.